Hi everybody, it's Chris here, Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions. Now, everybody hates manual work in Excel. Excel VBA can help you speed up those manual tasks. And in this video, I show you how to do a real world task using Excel VBA, particularly building a loop within a loop. I take you through it step by step. The download files and timestamps are in the video description below. And if you like this tutorial, make sure you watch until the end. I've got a whole 1 hour Excel VBA tutorial for you. I'll show you how to access it at the end. Let's get into it. What we're trying to do is this data into this format here. Okay, so let's think about how we might do this. And as always, don't just jump into the VBA editor. Not yet. Always take the time to plan. Okay, so I'm going to put a new sheet in the file here. I'm going to call this my practice sheet. So Alt-O-H-R. Got the Visual Basic Editor here. So we can see we've got one module in the file. I'm going to put another module in. So insert module. I'm going to say create a square here. We're doing one thing 16 times. So we're repeating an action. What does that mean? Well, a loop allows us to repeat an action any number of times. What should the name of our variables be here? Well, I would be tempted to say this is the row loop, and then this is the column loop, because we're going to be looping down the row and then looping across the columns. So being explicit and clear about those variable names, that's going to be helpful. So let's say, I'm going to say dim row loop as integer here. Dim row loop as integer. So let's go for a 4 next loop here. So for row loop equals 1 to, let's say 1 to 4 here. Missed out the equal sign there. And then next row loop. And you could see I hit the F8 key 4 times there. So we got through the loop, but there's nothing happening at the moment. So let's clear out these values. Rather than having values here, I'm just going to use, so I'm just going to say anchor cell, go very literal today. Let's say range anchor cell, the cell we just created. I'm going to use offset here, dot offset. And then let's just do some practice here. 1, 1. Equals here. Okay, so let's hit the F5 key here, and I can see here is going in. More precisely, it's going in 4 times. So if we just clear this cell quickly, now using the F8 key, we'll actually see visually Excel going up and down that loop. It's going to go up and down it 4 times and then exit the loop. Well, offset, it's rows and then columns. The higher the number for the rows. Okay, so that's going to go from our anchor cell. Let's just shade that cell to remind us. You can see we've moved 2 cells down, 1, 2, and then 1 cell across, and that's taking us to this cell here. We're building it up, aren't we? Building it up step by step. Okay, so here's the power, the synergy of these different elements of VBA combining together, and in this case, it's the variable combining with offset, with the offset method. Okay, so row loop here. Looks okay. So let's hit the F8 key, work through it step by step here. Okay, so what's happening? To illustrate this, just hover the cursor over the row loop variable. That's increasing by 1 each time we go through the loop, from a value of 1 to a value of 4, hitting the F8 key, row loop is 3, hitting the F8 key again, row loop is 4. That's working with the offset to move that text down each time we go through the loop. Okay, so what about this? I think we're going to have to change this later. Let's try this. Let's use the variable to assign a value to the cell. I'm going to clear this now. Okay, let's play this and we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 going in there. Cool. Excellent. So we managed to get a list, single column, managed to get a list of numbers there. What's the next challenge? Next challenge is to move across, of course, to move across. So we need a column here, need a column here, and a column here. Then there's another challenge. Okay, So you might guess we've got column loop as integer, so it's a whole number variable, and then one loop within another loop. So you can see rather than row loop, it says col loop. Apart from that, it's exactly the same. I'm going to say left to right to make this clear as possible in my head. Begin left to right loop, and then I copy that down. I mean, these annotations are really important when you've got multiple loops in the file. End left to right loop, up to down loop. Okay, and then end up to down loop. So really making that clear. And yeah, you might say, well, Chris, it's easy. You know, there's not much code in this file. Well, if we just hit the F8 key, we've now got this column loop. But just see what happens now. Now we go to the col loop, and then we go back through the row loop again. But now the col loop is going to equal 2 because it's the second time going through the column loop. Then when we go back to the bottom again, the column loop now equals what? Now equals 3. So once again, we are going through the loop, but we can't tell visually that that's what we're doing. We can't actually tell that we're going through the loop. Change something about this line of code to understand what's happening, and then substitute it in the variable to get that more advanced functionality. A loop. I'm going to play this code rather than stepping through it, hit the F5 key. So let's go and step through it again. In the F8 key now. So first col loop equals 1. So we're offsetting one column across from our anchor cell. So first we work through our row loop, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got to the end of the row loop variable now resets. It's going to reset back to 1, while the col loop value is 2. So we're going to move across. Not going to be in this column, going to be in the next column. And there it is. And that continues. In our example, we can see here, you know, we're not just putting numbers in or any old value. We need to understand that we can take that additional step to manipulate what data goes into this cell. Let's say, I'm going to say input value as integer. Just to remind myself here, value to be inputted to the cell. Let's try this. Let's initialize. This is called initializing. Initialize the variable, we can say. So we're assigning a value to a variable. If we don't do that, then what value does a variable take by default? Well, if it's a numerical variable, an integer, or a long variable, it's going to just take a value of 0. This is where we're inputting the value to cell. I'm going to say input value to cell. Input value here. Just going to play this one. Whoa. We've got all ones here. We're getting the variable's value into the spreadsheet. What we need to do is every time we put the value into the spreadsheet, we need to do A equals A plus 1. Something equals something plus something else. So it is what it was before plus something else. You know, this is the logic. And I'm going to say increment up input value. There we go. Let's go ahead, clear out the values. I think this would be a good one to step through. So I'm using the F8 key now. Input value has appeared. Input value equals 1. What's the value of input value going to be when we go through this? Input value now equals 2. So what's going to happen now? We've got 2 appearing. Input value is going to increment up. So that's our task. We've managed to do it. Let's just play it again. Make sure you punch the air. So when we create this table, we would actually want, what order would we want to do? We'd actually want to go across then down, wouldn't we? Because we want these values to appear in the row. Then we go down to the next row and the next values appear. So is it as easy as this? Let's try it. Is this going to work? We just change row loop and then col loop like that. Row loop, col loop. Yeah, I've got to change these as well. Col loop and row loop there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, seems to be working okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that did seem to work. So just switch the two loops around. For the row loop, we want to go 1 to 5, and then for the column loop, we want to go 1 to 6. So let's try this again on the practice sheet. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So we've got 5 columns and then 6 rows, and let's just go Alt HBA here to put the formats in there. How we get, like, what's wrong with the code now? Well, yeah, it's to do with this input value, isn't it? We actually want to dispense with the input value now. We want a value from this. We want a value to appear from this list. Let's give this a go. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to say teacher start here. Okay, and then input value equals. So now I'm going to be specific about the sheet because we're going to run this from a different sheet, remember? Arrange teacher start. Okay, there we go. So that should put the input value into the cell, put the input value into the variable, of course. And then, so add, I'm going to say save teacher initials, save teacher initial to variable. We want this to move, we want this value to move down, of course. So dot offset input value. Actually, we don't need to do this, do we? Input value 0. Don't need to do this actually. There we go, something like that. So this, we're familiar with this line of code. This references the cell that we want to put the value into, and then this is new. This is going to look at this sheet. It's going to start a teacher start and then move down. Okay, let's get this code to run. Of course, yeah, I commented out the variable declaration, so let's bring that back in. Okay, yeah. How are we doing? So NJILVL LDCJAS. I hope you enjoyed this Excel VBA tutorial. Now, these LITE videos, they're taken from our Members Monday community. I've got a whole 1-hour Excel VBA tutorial video for you. It's from our Members Monday taster sessions. You can click in the description below to the Members Monday taster sessions. I've got a 1-hour tutorial waiting for you there. If you like this kind of stuff, you will love our Members Monday Excel VBA learning community. You get 2 live streams a month with me. You get access to all the previous live streams, a whole library of content, and you get access to a member forum. It's a unique community only for serious learners who really want to push their data analysis to the next level. So check that out. If not, the next video to watch here on YouTube is in the pinned comment below this video. I'll see you there.